Death of schoolboy irks family. District continues funding for water supply system. And a church to make final call.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Tuesday's news. Family of the schoolboy's rugby league star in Lanoro have petitioned the police over his death in a police shootout in December last year. The 17-year-old was alleged to be shot by police and later died while fleeing from a fight that broke out during the Lay Rugby League competition last December. The family has laid a complaint with police and petitioned the police to conduct an autopsy report, make arrests and meet the funeral expenses.
Lanoro was just starting his life and dream of becoming a rugby league star when he was killed. He was only 17 years old and had just entered high school as a grade 9 student at the Busu Secondary School. The teenager was alleged to be killed by police during an open fire to disperse a fight that broke out during the Lay Rugby League competition finals in December last year. His death has gained a lot of attention on social media, calling for justice over his death. His family members and close friends are in shock and are also pushing for justice.
Now, all Sawe finished this or something, or send all it all. Ask him, Mibla, Kissing finish all him. Now, by Mibla, I give him time, Mibla. Now, Mibla, he ready, logo under office, Mibla. By behind me, give him answer.
Masuri mi plus disla petition dum plan ba tok wantan. Metu lo meeting funeral na auscrying all expenses because it's a time family but been causing.
Lanoro from Chimbu was a rising rugby league star as described by his family. He took part in the schoolboys rugby league competition and the Lay Rugby League competition with the 13A Bulldogs team. He won a couple of medals for Player of the Match and was recruited to be part of the Lay Snakes Tigers Academy this year. Unfortunately, he passed away on the 11th of December last year. Lay Metropolitan Commander Chris Kunyamban said the police are waiting for the autopsy report to further support the investigation.
We're waiting for the autopsy. As soon as the autopsy arrives, the investigators will go straight to it and will go down to the root of how the incident happened, how the incident transpired.
Meanwhile, the family have raised concerns on the slow pace of the investigations and have given a petition to the police and the Internal Investigation Unit and the Ombudsman Commission to fast-track the investigation. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Lay.
Lay businessman Matthew Minape has been granted a restraining order following the actions of a police unit in Lay over his business properties. Mr. Minape said police went ahead and locked the gates of his commercial property in Lay's top town without serving any formal documents. He said such action by the policemen is uncalled for and says this has been happening all around PNG's second largest city.
We let the court do the findings.
In a news conference in Port Moresby this morning, Mr. Minape said on 13th of December last year, a faction of police forcefully locked the gates of his property at Lay's top town. He said there were no papers served to him. He was surprised and questioned what the police intention was. Minape said the action by a particular police officer was abusive.
So he actually fronted up the gate and he was screaming and saying that he's locking up the gate, and he told us to, he told the tenants and everyone to shut down the shops, commercial shops. We have about 10 shops. It's a big property, it's a all commercial area. And they start screaming and Gordon Block, I've asked him if he has any legal base that warrants him to do that, what he was doing. And I've said that I don't know anything that he has said on me as a landlord and a property owner.
Days after the locking up of his property, Minape filed a lawsuit in Port Moresby. He said his confrontation with the police was tense as they keep referring him to seek answers from the Lay MP and Minister for Lands, John Rosso. The long-time Lay businessman then went ahead seeking answers from the Lay Metsup.
We talk about everything, what had happened, the approach and all of that. And then we talk him Chris. You see, Gordon had mentioned minister, member for Lay, go look at minister on Friday. I don't know which Friday he was referring to. And them to go look him secretary. So I'm not aware of this, that Gordon when start looking my property at them to also. Then on top of that, I'm to also go looking Chris. So I was with Chris. And I repeated what Gordon said and looking up my place. And I said, that's not right. And at the back of me, they've been doing that. They've been doing around in Lay. They're known for that. They break down a few properties in Lay. They broke down a toilet at Eriko without proper documentation. I know that.
The Waigani National Court has issued a restraining order to authorities in Lay. He said this case is not new, with similar actions done by a faction of policemen in Lay. Minape will also be issuing a letter of complaint to the police commission and believes there is a syndicate collaborating to suppress innocent citizens.
And which our client reserved the right to approach appropriate or responsible authorities of the government, of the state, and lay appropriate complaints against the responsible police officers and also the minister to the responsible our constitutional office like the Ombudsman Commission, all of this, which something which up to my client, but by way of this, because this all comes within the scope of law. That's why I'm informing you.
He estimates that this business lost about 100,000 that day and will not let this go unchallenged. Jack Power Jr., National EMTV News.
International passengers traveling into Papua New Guinea on Air New Guinea are required to be fully vaccinated unless they are PNG citizens or under the age of 18. If a passenger is unvaccinated or under 18 years of age, they are required to self-isolate for 14 days upon arrival. Despite being fully vaccinated, all passengers will still need to show evidence of a negative PCR test result within 72 hours of the scheduled departure time from their flight into Port Moresby. Meanwhile, passengers travelling out of PNG are required to present their yellow international vaccination card that is obtained from the health department. The green vaccination card is not sufficient to use for international travel. Spending New Year in Manus, Prime Minister James Marape presented 10 oxygen concentrators to the Manus Provincial Health Authority. The oxygen was transported by Air Sangha straight to Momote Airport and then to Manus General Hospital. Speaking there, the Prime Minister says this is the beginning of improving health services in the small island province. He says the 10 oxygen concentrators are vital to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Apart from that, the Prime Minister also presented a 10 million kina funding for a new isolation and treatment facility. The PM says all these are efforts to ensure Manus people access convenient and better health care. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. Grade 12 school leavers in Yanguru Southia District will be supported by the District Development Authority's school fee subsidy program. Under this arrangement, the DDA will pay 1,000 kina per child for all tertiary students in the district for the 2022 academic year.
The financial support by the Yanguru District Development Authority comes from the DDA's education component of 3 million kina under the district's Development Support Improvement Program funds. Students who qualify under the subsidy program are those whose parents live in the district and also those whose parents are from other provinces but work and live in the Yanguru Southia district.
We also have a policy that if you're from outside, regardless of where you are, if you work in our district, you're a policeman or a nurse or a health extension officer, if you are residing in Yanguru Southia district, we will still pay the subsidy to your children It's part of our incentive to incentivize public servants from other provinces and districts to come and work in Yang Social District. So that will continue. All they are required to do is to go to our LNGs, pick up the application form for the school fee subsidy, get it endorsed by the councillors to ascertain that they are actually residents of the village communities, and then the council president. And then they bring it to the district office. Inside the application form, they must also put the acceptance letter that they have been accepted to one of the institutions. This school fee subsidy is only for those who are going to tertiary institutions after grade 12.
In 2021, the DDA supported 450 tertiary students under the subsidy program. Through the development plan for the education sector in Yanguru Sausia, the DDA aims to provide quality education for students from elementary to grade 12s. Over the last 5 years, the DDA built several new high schools and upgraded water, sanitation, and learning facilities for almost all schools in the district. Just last year, the district witnessed the graduation of the first grade 12 students from the recently established Yanguru School of Excellence.
So that will continue. All they are required to do is to go to our LNGs, pick up the application form for the school fee subsidy, get it endorsed by the councillors to ascertain that they are actually residents of the village communities, and then the council president. And then they bring it to the district office. Inside the application form, they must also put the acceptance letter that they have been accepted to one of the institutions. This school fee subsidy is only for those who are going to tertiary institutions after grade 12. We don't pay for high schools.
The subsidy application forms can be picked up from ward councillors in the respective LLGs, and the DDA aims to complete the subsidy payments by the 15th of February. Thekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
The UPNG Medang Student Association delivered their final phase project last week Thursday at the Asuramba Care Centre in Medang Province. The project, coordinated by Kurara Matanzana with support from UPNG MSA, has been running for 3 years as they distributed solar lights, built water catchment systems, ran awareness programs and donations to the local communities. As part of their initiative this year, the UPNG MSA also had extra help from other Medang students from Unitec and Divine Word University. They were able to deliver donations of kitchen utensils and clothes donated by Medang town residents. The students also made presentation of a book drive to the primary and elementary schools for the care centre. The two care centres will receive reading books for their schools as soon as it arrives from Port Moresby. Health indicators in Yanguru Sausia district have improved with the installation of water supply into villages at the ward level. Today, Rofung Dogum village began the path to access clean water supply with the presentation of 100,000 kina to contractor ADRA. The funding support is provided by the Yanguru District Development Authority in attempts to minimize time and distance women in Rofung Dogum travel to fetch water.
Located 45 minutes drive off the main Sipik Highway, Rofudokum village is home to at least 2,000 people. Women and young girls here walk for at least 20 minutes to fetch water, oftentimes not from a clean water source.
Rofudokum emi gateway blo Sausa. So Sausa emi omla place so yimi say plan we misa stable place we no wara na yimi sawe golo all asple saksak asple kunen misa pa no wara but this like check today and me saw him through so you need alem la sausa na milato thank you lo YS DDA lo look saw la place rondo na this la check na this la land ba build wara ya ol bastobli mo la problem le melo wara plan the time ol mama na susa sabe kar wara na now just let check emi soy mo semba so mo problem lol.
Under the DDA's water sanitation and hygiene program, 19 out of 96 wards in Yanguru Sausia have already installed water supply systems in their villages. Talks on building a water supply system for Rofudokum began in May 2021 when local MP Richard Maru visited the village. 8 months later, and a 100,000 kina was deposited into the contractor's account to mobilize equipment and commence work.
But in the social district, we are building 4 to 5 new WASH projects every single year now. WASH is a very important priority for our district. The rate of diseases, diarrhea, waterborne disease is very high all over the country. Under the new WASH policy of the government in 2016, by 2030 we want up to 80% of our people to have access to safe water. And in our young social district, we are very serious about this policy, implementing the policy. So we are extremely happy that Ropodo is the next village, which will be provided a village for the supply system where you put it out from a source, you put it on overhead tanks, then you pipe it straight to all the houses.
Located in the Sauso LLG, Rofudokum becomes the 6th village to build a water supply system at a cost of 270,000 kina. The installation of water supply system at ward levels is considered a vital service to the community, and it is a massive relief for mothers and young girls who do not have to travel long distances in search of water.
People are welcoming this project and start off, which ADRA and taking full ownership. This project, they will start off on first day and they will continue the principal project on the last day. We give him assurance, ADRA, you come over on the ground place, Rofu, the starting project. Since first day, you come up the place, that was on the 14th of May in 2021, you looking finish. How support and kirap line the place. Only welcoming the project and welcoming ADRA by coming to work. Support the place and staff, labor the place or man by giving him resources that place by support him, councillors from the place by support him successfully and on time and within your budget by the completing the project. It must be started as soon as possible and you may finish the project.
Thekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
The Coffee Industry Corporation's focus for 2022 and beyond is to maximize nurseries and help farmers produce quality coffee. With the global coffee price reaching record high, the CEO of CIC, Charles Dambui, said they will largely focus on nurseries and farmers' trainings.
So going forward, under the price support scheme, we'll be looking at improving areas where we'll improve the quality of coffee, so that would encompass improving machineries, assisting farmers to acquire necessary materials, proper planting material, and also assist our farmers to improve their skills in training. So those are the areas we'll be looking at apart from the price support.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2775 $0.3780 Australian dollars, $0.2360 euro, and a 31.35 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, and copra and cocoa closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed higher, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the Ordinaries is trading lower. Chukai Sports is next. Join us for the details after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The SP-PNG Hunters program is a pathway program for players in PNG's National Rugby League competition. The head coach, Matthew Church, says he has the last say when it comes to selection of the final squad. He said contrary to public opinion, he picks players he knows can cope with the Hot Plus Cup.
It is January and the countdown to the season opener for the 2022 Queensland Hot Plus Cup is on. PNG's team, the SP-PNG Hunters, are gearing up to return to Australia for the season. And with the days winding down, a final squad will be announced soon. SP-PNG Hunters coach Matthew Church is set to take on his second season as head coach and is always at the forefront of player selection. In a recent interview before the team went into recess, he said he has the final say who gets into the team, and it was a collective effort by him and other coaches to pick a robust side to get into pre-season camp.
Look, I have total control over who comes into pre-season. I've watched every Digicel Cup game. I get a copy of that each week, so I get to watch that. I do lean on a few people. Coach Michael Maram, I spoke to him. It's a World Cup year, so are there any guys that he wanted to keep an eye on or get into the Hunters squad? Obviously, New Stanley was coming on board well before it was announced, so worked closely with him and with his experience at Digicel Cup level and said, who does he think tracks well, so then I could check those guys out. And we did it as a collective. Paul Ayton watched every game as well, so we all added input, and then obviously get the final say being the head coach, but we all had input into who comes into the squad.
There is so much talent in PNG's semi-professional rugby league competition, but contrary to public opinion, the head coach has the last say on who he thinks can cope with the level of play when these players transition into the Hot Plus Cup.
Look, I look at suitability to the game style. The game keeps getting quicker and quicker, and Digicel Cup is probably a level or two below where we need them to be. So it's about who has these little habits that already ingrained. There's some guys who are probably unlucky to miss out on the squad.
Half of the new players that made the train-on squad for the Hunters pre-season are from the Lace Next Tigers. The team obviously made it to the grand final and won the premiership, and that alone warrants a bulk of their players making it into the Hunters program.
I know public opinion is fairly high, but brought in a bulk of the Snacks players who won a grand final. And if you look at representative teams, if I was picking an Australian side, it'd be heavily favoured to the players that win a grand final or play in a grand final. So we look at those sort of things and who can play at those levels, because the semi-finals roll around the Digicel Cup, and that's a bit closer to the ISC. Who handles that? How do we want to play? So it's more so how I see us playing as the Hunters.
Fidelis Sukina, Chukai Sports.
PNG will be joining its rivals from the Oceania Football Confederation as they embark on the journey to the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualification campaign this year.
The road to qualification for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar has been finalized for the member nations of the Oceania Football Confederation. A mini-tournament will be held in the host nation of Qatar from March 14th to the 30th. A 2-day rest period will be given to teams between matches, providing adequate recovery time for the players. PNG, Cook Islands, Fiji, New Caledonia, New Zealand, Solomon Islands, Tahiti, Tonga and Vanuatu have all confirmed to take part. Samoa and American Samoa have both withdrawn from participation due to their ongoing COVID-19 travel restrictions. The qualifying stage will be a single match between the Cook Islands and Tonga, the two lowest-ranked participating OFC nations in the FIFA World Rankings. The winner will join the other OFC nations in Qatar for the World Cup qualifiers. Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports, with the details coming up next.
Chukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for this afternoon and tonight in the southern region. Cloudy with a few showers in Port Moresby, Kerma and Popondetta. Some showers and thunderstorms expected in Daru. Fine weather, although cloudy in Alatau. In the Momase region, partly cloudy with chances of a shower or two in Lae, Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, partly cloudy with a few showers possible in Lorengau. Showers and thunderstorms expected in Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, and some rain and thunderstorms in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms, then morning fog in Mount Hagen. Cloudy with a few showers, then morning fog in Goroka and Kundiawa. And cloudy with a few showers and possible thunderstorms, then morning fog in Mendi and Wabag. Forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Daru to Hood Point, seas of 1 to 2.5 meters. Coastal waters of Hood Point to Samari Island, seas of 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Vitia Strait to Wewak, seas of 2 to 3 meters. And waters of New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas of 1 to 1.5 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas moderate with west to northwesterly winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas rather rough with northwest winds at 15 to 30 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate to rather rough with northwesterly winds at 15 to 30 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northwest winds of 15 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday, 4th of January 2022. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing and good night.